the Lord tonight? That sound all right? Sounds loud up here. All right. You know, it's like it's been said, no matter how hard this life gets, no matter how troubled you are, I mean, the devil, he can have my car. He can't touch me. He can't have me. He can have everything. Everything this world can give me, he can have. Because I don't need it. All I need is my Jesus. So he can provide everything that I need. Whatever you need tonight, he can provide it for you. He said he would. He promised he would. He'd provide you everything you need. I might not get everything I want, but I'll get everything that I'll ever need, as long as I have him. If you don't have him, that's the one thing you need tonight. Yeah. I couldn't get away from this message. To be honest with you, I preached it this week already. I sat down, I said, all right, God, where are we going now? He said, I didn't tell you to go anywhere. I still got you where I want you to be. So here we are tonight. Now, Danny and Jacob may have done heard some of this, but it'll be all right. God's got a message for us tonight. Anybody here got any problems? Everybody's hands should be up this morning. Everybody's hands should be up. Some problems are little. Some problems are medium-sized, kind of big. You know, you can get through it. Some problems are giant. I mean, it seems like there's no way around it. There's no way you're going to get through it. Anybody ever faced a giant? Anybody facing one right now? You know what that sound is? It's the sound of victory. That's a sound that's saying your giant's getting ready to go down. Or are you going to use it? Or are you going to use it? God told me to make this. I didn't have this with me Tuesday. Actually, I didn't have it Tuesday. I said, sit down and make this tonight. He said, there's some people facing some giants, facing some big problems, facing some big issues. This is your weapon. Don't look like much, does it? A little patch, a couple pieces of string thrown together. What you got may not look like much. You might look at yourself, look in the mirror and say, I ain't got much. You may look at yourself and say, I don't have anything. Like I said a while ago, if you got Jesus, you got it all. You got everything you need to conquer the giant that is before you. I thought about putting a rock in this and slinging it around, but I don't know how that would work too good. I thought about having Mike stand about halfway back. By the way, I did bust some trees with this today with some rocks, so it does work. God gives you something, He's going to make it work, right? If y'all know how it works, I'll get with me after church. Lastly, I'll go ahead and tell you. This is so your weapon, you got to make a little loop in this so your weapon doesn't come off. So you have it in your hand. You're ready to use it. This is your pouch. This is where you load your ammunition, so to speak, your rock, your smooth stone. Put it in there. Pull it down even. Got your little knot up here. That way you know where to hold it at. You know where to hold your weapon. Now, like I said, it took me a while to hit that tree. It took me a while to get used to my weapon. It took me a while to get to where I could hit what I was looking at. The question is, are you hitting your enemy with your weapon? Are you using your weapon enough where you can hit your enemy? Are you used to it? Do you know what your weapon can do? This is a weapon of mass destruction right here. It can make giants fall. It's a giant slayer right there. All right, giant slayer on that little pouch right there. Giant killer. All right, we're going to be in 1 Samuel chapter 17. We'll start at verse 33. No, 32. We'll back up one. God said so. We all know, we're very familiar with this story, that Samuel had anointed David king. He was the youngest of 8, I believe it was. And he was already after he'd been anointed king, and there's a battle going on between the Philistines and the Israelites. In verse 32 it says, And David said unto Saul, his father had sent him with some things to the battlefield to give to his brethren. And when he got there, he heard what was going on. He heard that there was a giant problem. He had heard that he had been out there, he had challenged any man who would come against him. In verse 32 it says, David said unto Saul, Let no man's heart fail because of him. Like I said, no matter what it is you're facing tonight, let no man's heart fail because of what you may be going through, what you may be facing. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. David said, I'll go and I'll take care of this problem for you. If you know the Lord tonight, He's already won the victory for you. He said, I've done with. I've done conquered the giants. All you got to do is believe and trust in me. And Saul said unto David, Thou art not able to go against the Philistine to fight with him. How many of us feel like that tonight? How many of us feel like our enemy is telling us, hey, you're not able to face this giant. You're not able to get through this situation you're going through. You're not able to get through this sickness you're battling. You're not able. You're not able. You're not able. That's what your enemy wants to tell you tonight. You're not able. You don't have the strength. You don't have the faith. That's what he wants to tell you tonight. That's what your enemy wants you to believe tonight. That you're nothing. That you never will be anything. That's what your enemy wants you to believe tonight. It says, But thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. Saul said, what you're going up against, he's got battle experience. He's strong. He's big. Again, telling him, I don't think it's a good idea. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't be here on this battlefield. And David said unto Saul, Thy servant keep his father's sheep. And there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he rose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defiled the armies of the living God. I like what David come back with her. He's saying, I've been through some battles before. I've had to face the lion and the bear. And the same God that delivered me from them, He's going to deliver me from this giant problem that y'all are facing right now. So I'm getting ready to take care of Him. Because my God lives. And He's never failed me. And He never will. God will never fail you. No matter how big the problem is, no matter how bad it may seem, God will always win. The battle's already won. You may be engaged in full throttle right now in your battle. And there may be a Saul there telling you, hey, just quit. Just go back home. Give up. Throw in the towel. You're no good here. But no. The God that got you this far is going to be the same God to get you through this. It's going to be the same God to get you through the next one. And the next one, and the next one. Thank God for the battles. Thank God for the battles that He's brought you through. Because you're stronger today for it. Am I right? Everybody in here? The battles you went through, you're a stronger person today. Your faith is stronger because of it. Thank Him for delivering you out of the lion, out of the hand of the bear. Thank Him for those other battles. Because He's preparing you for that other one. He's preparing you for the next one that's coming. And it may be a little bigger. It may be a giant like David was facing. But do what David said. Same God that delivered me out of them, He's going to deliver me out of this one. Use your faith to tell somebody else, hey, God done brought me through some other stuff. He's going to bring me through this. And God will get glory for it. Because when He brings you through it, they're going to see His glory work in your life. So David said, moreover, 37, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, He will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. And Saul armed David with his armor, and put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. I want to tell you something. The world sees you battling. They may say, you need this, you need that, or you're not going to make it. Let me tell you something. No, you don't. You don't need this and that. You need your God. You need whatever He has to give you to get through it. Yes, I know there's doctors and stuff that gives us medicine to help us get through our illness with God's hand upon it. I know that. But don't let the world dictate how you fight your battles. Because there's only one way to fight them. That's with faith in God, not in self. Look where David's faith was at. It wasn't in him. He said, the Lord which delivered me. The Lord which delivered you before. He's going to deliver you now. But we need to claim it. And don't let the world weigh you down. Don't let the world cast things upon you don't need. You didn't need them to get before the battles before. You don't need them to get through them now. So don't try to put a bunch of stuff on you're not familiar with that the world wants to give you. Use what God has provided, what's available. Verse 40, it says, he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had. I don't know exactly what a shepherd's bag looked like. This is my shepherd's bag. He put his stones in there. These look like weapons of war to you? David's saying, that's why he's out here. I don't need your sword. I don't need your armor of brass and your helmet of brass. The Lord's already provided me what I need. I know you think it don't look like much, but it's going to work. What you got, you may, like I said already, you might not think it looks like much, but it's going to work. Why? Because God's in it. If you put God in it, it's going to work. Amen? He knew what he needed. He needed his staff in his hand, and he needed 5 smooth stones from the brook. And put them in the shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand. I already showed you the sling. And he drew near to the Philistine. Now think about this. Giant already been out there. I know Gary mentioned smack talking Wednesday night. Smack talking to the Israelites. Say, anybody, here I am. Challenged them. You got anybody that can take me on? Here I am. Here am I. What would you do? What would you do? There's some people out there facing some giants today that need you to pick up your sling, need you to pick up your stones, and need you to go before the giant. You get what I'm saying? There's some people out there on the sidelines watching, saying, well, what he's got, what he's holding on to don't look like much. That giant looks awful big. I don't think the outcomes will be too good on this. That's all you need. That's all you need. There's some people watching the battle. There's a whole army watching the battle. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David. And the man that bare his shield went before him. Feels so bad, why did he need a man bearing a shield to go before him? That's just a question I had. You can answer it yourself. Why would he need a man to bear a shield before him if he thought he was so big? It says that when the Philistine looked about, he saw David and disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. And just to get you a picture in your head, I thought about George. Little ruddy guy, high school, probably about the same age as David. Yeah, that Mike's laughing now. But I thought about George. Now, that's probably about the size David was. Ruddy little guy. And here he is out here on this battlefield facing this giant. The world is watching you. You look this big. Your giant looks this big. And they're like, there's no way. They already got the outcome played out in their head. There's no way. This is one-sided. There's no way. You ever watched a fight where you thought, hey, there's no way that guy's going to win. Then he comes back and wins? Kind of like Rocky. Fight that big Russian guy, that's the one that stands out to me the most. I mean, he was big. He was tall. He was fast. Oh, Rocky, boy, he got beat up, didn't he? Round after round, he was getting beat up. You feel beat up tonight? You feel beat up? Been a few rounds in the ring, in the battlefield? Well, I like the end. You know, it seemed like he come to himself. You're like, hey, I'm better than this. I can conquer this giant that's before me. You can conquer that giant before you tonight. You can come back and defeat him, and the victory's yours if you want it. All you got to do is claim it. Put your faith in God. See, the enemy made my mouth dry, so I defeated him by getting a drink of water that the Lord provided. It says, David was a youth, ruddy, and of fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. What's your enemy telling you tonight? How's he talking to you? Like I said, just putting you down, saying you're nothing? Who you think you are? Living for this God? Coming at me like this? What do you think you're going to do? And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh to the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. Here the enemy is saying, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to defeat you. I'm going to win. That's what your enemy wants you to think. He wants to think you're destroyed, you're defeated, there's no way you can win. That's what he wants to do. He wants to get in your head and make you think that. How many of us can look back and that thought process? Man, I just don't know. The doubts, the fears. There's something behind me. Somebody's laughing up here right now. The Philistine said to David, Am I a dog? Comest to me with staves. And the Philistine cursed David by his gods, and the Philistine said to David, Come to me, I will give thy flesh to the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with the sword, and with the spear, and with the shield. Now remember, Saul had already tried to give David all this stuff. David said, No, that's not my God. That's not what he wants from me. But David is telling Goliath here, Hey, you coming at me with all this stuff. Sword, spear with the shield. But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. He's telling him things are getting ready to change. Somebody tell your enemy things are getting ready to change. Tell him. Things are getting ready to change, buddy. You've been smack talking long enough. I've heard you running your lip long enough. And the very things that you've said is going to be upon you. They're upon your head. The words you've spoken to me, the way you defiled me, are upon you. Because my God's getting ready to change things. My God's getting ready to do something. Yeah. The battle may look a little unlevel right now, but things are getting ready to change. (46) it says, This day will the Lord deliver me out of mine hand. The Lord will deliver thee into my hand. David's telling his enemy, the Lord's getting ready to deliver you unto me. You're not going to defeat me. You may think you are. Everybody on the sideline may think I'm already defeated. They may be thinking, well, it's over. He's going to kill David and they're going to come after us. Which one are you? Which one are you tonight? Are you on the sideline saying, well, I don't know. I don't know if this battle is going to be victorious or not. Things just don't look right. They don't look too good. Or are you David? Are you David out there in front of the giant that's smack talking? With the stones, with the sling. getting warmed up. I wonder what the giant was thinking when David out there putting that rock in there, started slinging that sling around. Now see, the point in this story right here, something had to change in the giant. Because when you speak victory to your enemy, something's got to change. Because right then, you took the power into your hand, into God's hands. You use God's power to change the outcome of the battle. Something had to give right there. Because when you use the name of the Lord to come against your enemies, there has to be a change right then. Because you trusted in the Lord. Now, if he said, I come at you with my own power and my strength, things would have been different. So it made me wonder, I wonder if that didn't flip-flop something in the giant's head. Maybe I shouldn't have stepped out there and done all that. Because David said, I come at you in the name of the Lord. He stood up. You ever had a bully in school that run his lip for years and years, and it seemed like nobody would bother him or mess with him? Then the least person would stand up to him, and he would shut his mouth. The least person would stand up to him, and he had no power. All his power was in this. That's all the power your enemy's got. Stand up there on the field and smite talk. Unless you surrender to him. There's too many Christians out there surrendering to the giant. Saying, I can't defeat you. Well, they done lost right there. They've already lost their battle right there. And that doubt comes upon them. Giants out there before them, they say, well, there's no way I can win. Well, there's not if you're going to think like that. But if your faith is in the Lord Almighty, He's equipped you already to defeat the giant. Verse 46 says, this day will the Lord deliver me. This day will the Lord deliver thee into my hand, and I will smite thee, and take thy head from thee. And I will give the carcasses to the host of the Philistines this day, and to the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. The battle you're going through, like I said, there's people out there watching. The victory's there. All you got to do is claim it. Victory's already won. All you got to do is have enough faith out there, step out there and claim it. Like David done. David said, hey, buddy, this battle's already won. Because I'm coming at you in the name of the Lord. This battle is done. Over. You're defeated. Your giant's already defeated. All you got to do is step out on the field and claim it. It says, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's. The battle is the Lord's, and He will give you unto our hands. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted, and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. He didn't sit around and wait around and see what was going to happen, did he? He said he hasted. Ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. How many of us could do that? Okay, let's take for instance the rest of the church on the sidelines. Big giant, enemy, whatever it is, problem out there. Howdy. Get your sling and your stone. and run out there and defeat that giant. Come on, buddy, you can do it. Carrie, how about there? Get that giant took care of. God's talking to you. He's telling you, go out there, defeat him. How many of us could say, yeah, we can hop up and run in haste and get out there and defeat that giant? How many of us could say that? How many of us are ready to battle with what the Lord has equipped us with? I don't want to be a sideline watcher. I want to be the giant slayer. David put his hand in his bag. And took hence a stone. That's the best I could find today. He took a stone. I don't know exactly how big his stone was. Don't really matter. No, I'm not going to slay nobody in the forehead. Unless y'all want me to do a demonstration on Mike how to use this. I can't sling this around without dropping it, but I'm afraid to. But he took the stone. He was running in haste. Now you imagine this guy, little ruddy guy, a youth, army of Israel on the sideline watching, afraid, scared. Here comes a little guy packing this. He says, you're coming at me with all this stuff. But I'm coming at you in the name of the Lord. I'm coming at you with whatever I got, buddy. Whatever the Lord has provided for me. Because he'd already brought him through the other battles. Preparing for this one. It says that he slung it. He slung his stone. Another question. Have you slung your stone? Have you slung your stone? Or just in the pouch? Are you using what God's given you? Too many Bibles are laid up today collecting dust. God's saying, if you would just read my word, I have in there everything you need to get through this life. If you'll just take it, do what I ask with it. Don't look like much, does it? Just a little string, a pouch, and a stone, a little bag. Just as close to what I could get to what David might have had. What would you pick? You had all this weaponry over here. Sword, shield, plates of brass. You already know the Lord wants you to use this. This over here looks better. It looks stronger. It's been through a few battles already. It's been tested. Or would you use what God provided? What God has already got you used to. What God had already used to deliver David before. Now, I don't say that he conquered the lion or the bear with his sling and stone. I don't know that. But I know he said he slew him. I know he defeated him. says, and David put in his hand in his bag, and took hence a stone and slang it, and smote the Philistine in the forehead, that the stone sunk to his forehead. He fell upon his face to the earth. You think you could sling that stone hard enough to sink it into the forehead of a giant? It's a little piece of rope and a little patch holding it together where they're joined. What faith David had to step out on that battlefield with that. What's the Bible say about faith? Faith, the grain of a mustard seed. You can move mountains. You can move giants. You can move problems. You can move circumstances. You can change the outcomes of battles when you call upon the name of the Lord. Wonder why the rest of the Israelites wasn't calling upon the Lord. Why wasn't they claiming that instead of sitting on the sideline? It says, so David prevailed over the Philistine with the sling and with the stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. David had no sword. It said, therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine. Imagine a ruddy little youth. He done slung this stone and just conquered this giant. And now he's face down in the dirt. He runs up over there. I just see him putting his foot up on him like, yeah. Now who's talking? You know? That's what I done. Now who's talking? So he ran and stood up on the Philistine. Little guy standing up on a giant, defeated. He took his sword. He took the sword that his enemy was threatening him with. Right? Remember, he done took his words and turned them around and said, no. Tell your enemy, no. Whatever you're saying ain't going to happen. Things are getting ready to change. I'm not the one defeated. You are. David already told him, I'm going to take your head off. Guess what? He didn't have a sword, did he? Wonder what David thought. He'd already told him, your head is mine. David told him that, but he didn't have nothing to cut it off with. Again, his faith. His faith. His faith. It says, and David took his sword. He took the enemy's weapon that the enemy was threatening him with, that the enemy said he was going to defeat him with, and drew it out of the sheath thereof. Drew it out of the sheath. How come Goliath didn't have it drew out? I don't know. I just thought this popped in my head. Just asked. I don't know. Because a ruddy little guy running at you, I mean, you're getting ready to go head to head into battle with him. You don't even have your sword drawn out. Remember what I told you? Had to be a change in the giant when he declared defeat on him in the name of the Lord. I don't think the Lord gave him an instant to get that sword out. That's just me talking. I think something came up on the giant. Because me, if somebody's coming at me in the battle, I will try to do everything I can to fight them off, right? If I'm going to defeat them like I said I was, I'm going to aim to kill them like I said I was. Like I said, there was no fight in him. He didn't even have a sword out. Victory's already there. God's already has the victory prepared for you. The enemy's not going to pull out his sword and cut your head off with it. Because you're not defeated. You're victorious. In the name of the Lord, you're victorious. The enemy can't touch you. Yeah, he can make a lot of things happen we don't like. Things brought up this morning, distractions, circumstances. But go at them in the name of the Lord. Always in the name of the Lord. Whatever it is. God should be a part of everything we do each day. God wants to be a part of everything you do each day. And it should be good. So David cut off his head therewith. When the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. Who fled? The enemy. Who has to flee in the name of the Lord? You speak Jesus, who has to flee? Satan. You go at Satan in the name of Jesus, he has to flee. Why? Because the victory's already won. The victory's there. All we have to stand up and claim it. It says that the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until they came to the valley at the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way of Sharaim, even unto Gath and to Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. Everybody that was watching, everybody that was, I heard them shaking in their armor before. I'm not sure where that comes from. But you can imagine, though. They said they were feared. Fear came upon them. They had all this armor to fight with, but couldn't do nothing with it. And here's David, a sling and a stone, a bag of rock stones, 5 stones. Goes out there and conquers this giant. Like I said, everybody, after the giants fell, after the giants' heads off, then what they do? Oh, yeah, we got this. Yeah, the battle's won, yeah. There's other people watching you, I've already said it. They're watching your battle. And when you become victorious, guess who's going to be shouting with you? Guess who's going to be shouting with you? The ones that were watching. I wonder if there wasn't some that are actually praying. Remember how they used to pray? God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. I wonder if they wasn't praying some of that. The same God that delivered them, deliver us today. So as a church, where are we at? Are we on the sideline? Are we David? Are we fighting the battle, victorious? Our faith, going out there battling those giants? Are you doing that? Are you using what God has equipped you with? What would you done if you had slung a giant with that stone right there? You had 4 more right here. They say they represent the other 4 giants that fell after David was put over the armies. 4 more giants fell at David's hand. What would you done if you had this bag of stones and you defeated a giant? And now you're standing over top of him. Now, it said David stood up over the giant, right? You know what I would have done? I would have looked at the Philistine army and said, I got some more. Loaded one up. Out there on the battlefield. That all you got? We need to smack talk our enemy a little bit sometimes. But in the name of the Lord, don't try to fight him on your own. That might not work out too good. He only has as much power as you allow him to have. Your enemy only has the power that you give him. Why? Like your story said. The giant had all the power until David stepped out on his faith and declared a victory in the name of the Lord. The battle wasn't going too good until then, was it? One giant problem kept a whole army from being victorious. Or it said 40 days, I believe it was. He went out on this battlefield declaring victory, saying, here I am. Now what are you going to do? Defeat your giant. Defeat the giant that's out there smite talking you with whatever God has equipped you with. Whatever God has given you. David, that's what his was. What's your weapon? What has God equipped you with to slay giants? I couldn't imagine the feeling David had when he's standing over that giant. Took the giant's sword and cut the giant's head off. Do you imagine how victorious he felt? You ever come through a battle, a problem, and you get to the end, you have that victory, how good it feels? I couldn't imagine how David felt. Whatever you're facing tonight, you can have that victorious feeling. The battle can be won if you just step out. Claim your victory. Use what God has given. The things keep coming up. Use what God has given you. Use what God has given you. I don't know what exactly He's given you. I just know what He's given me. I try to use what He's given me the best I can. What about you? If y'all want to get us a song, you can. Maybe you're saying, I don't have anything. Yes, you do. If you have Jesus in your life, you got something.